Okay, January 15th. Let's go through all the active coins, including Bitcoin, in alphabetical order, starting with Aave. Now, Aave, basically it's still in descending trend. This is a counter trend we call. This is a main trend, but the counter trend is so big now. It's look. I can say this is more like a mini bear market actually, and that's true for many coins. If you look at some of the coins, they are actually down since February or March, so it's almost a year. And if they are going down, I mean they are still trending down. We can easily call them under bear market. Nothing wrong, because one 11 months, 10 months is a long period. I mean, there's no standard definition because the whole market is new. But if a coin is trending down for 11 months or so, I would call they are already in bear market. Whether I mean, it doesn't sound good, but that's the thing. We'll see. So if you look at this coin, February, and this was like another high, but not for long, just a spike. So you can say if it hit the all-time high in February, this is almost similar. So I would just stick to this one because this doesn't make any major difference here. So from that point of view, if you look at it's trending down. So this is almost a year, right? By this is almost January, mid-January. So it's trending down. We can also consider in some of the cases we can say consolidation. In this one we can say this is a retest of this level because this is not deep enough. These are spikes. So maybe this is the first downturn, and then a bounce, and then a retest of this low, June low, and then as part of this pattern. So I'm just trying to break the downtrend to explain what is happening. And you will find that this kind of behavior is common. If there is anything different, we'll have 3-4 flavors, I believe. So if anything different, I'll explain. But one thing is, many coins are in downtrend for 11 months or 10 months or so, right? So the structure wise, this was the February was the top, and then low in June, and then a bounce, and then a retest. Now in this case, a retest was almost the same, and then a recovery, and as part of this recovery, then you can say this is a retest of this one. So that's a good sign. Now what you don't want to see is, that's why we have this red line. Now we don't want this coin to see this level again. We would like this coin to move ahead. If it's totally okay if it goes sideways, right? But we don't want any of this coin. I'm taking Aave as an example. We'll take few example in detail wherever there is different flavor. Otherwise, all 40 plus coins can be actually explained in 3 or 4 patterns. There are not many structure wise. So we're taking away where there's no new low. There's a retest of June low. So that's one flavor, you may say. In that case, this is a retest of this recent low, and now recovery. What we expect here is it will continue going up. Of course, when there is a previous or prior support, it's going to consider as face as a resistance. You can see that. So this is a checkpoint for Aave, and then another checkpoint would be at a higher level, and so on. So the required level is given to everyone, and that is known, it's recorded, so you can refer it later on. Why this is important? Because it requires a balance. It has to be, it should be weighing on the higher end, and when it crosses the required level, that's where the weight changes. That's why the required level is so important. Okay, unless and until you see required level, consider all the coins are going down. Okay, that's very easy. From a trend point of view. Okay, from a recovery point of view, there are phases where, for example, it depends on what level you're tracking. It also depends what duration you're tracking. So if one says, okay, it is really going down, if you look at this line, very simple visualization point of view, if I may hide everything, you can say it's going down. But then you can say now recently it's flattening because it was going down, but now if you put this one, you can say flattening, but no one can say it is going up. You can say it's recovering, but you cannot say going up. So that's why it has to be here for you, for us to say now it wants to go up. When it is here, then you can say okay, now it's going up, because then there is a clear change in the weight or balance. Then we can say now it could resume on the upside. But here we cannot say from the trend point of view that it is going up. Yeah, if so, that's why how much segment of the wave you consider, it everything, it depends on that. Okay, so for example, if you consider whole entire thing, here the perspectives matter. What all data you consider in your analysis, the outcome would be different. So simple explanation is, if you think this is my low, this is my high, and this is my current value. This current value is way higher than the low. It is more closer to the high than the low. If I go with that explanation, you can say there is nothing to worry because there is nothing. I mean, it's closer to the high. So why should I be worried? Which is true. So the perspective changes, and it all depends on how much data you collect, I mean consider in your analysis. So you consider whole entire thing and then say okay, it's here, it's not here. If it is here, then it's a big problem, but it's here. Of course, when it starts going down, it's a problem from here, because then that's not good, that means it's continuing. So from whole entire structure point of view, you can say this is my main trend. This is a very long bear market compared to the uptrend. From the height point of view, if you look at the ratio of the uptrend and the ratio of this one, I mean ratio of the uptrend and this downtrend, then it's like more like 50-50, right? In terms of size. Anyways, that's more analytical, but without going into too much, even the common sense point of view, you can say that the low is here, high is here, and it is more than this is 50%, so it's on the upper side. So that way we can say the trend is not broken. Then you say let me analyze only the downtrend. Then you can say okay, is downtrend over? No, because its direction is still down. So it has to break about this one, because see, this is the high, this is lower high, and this is another lower high. So at least you can say I want Aave to be here. So what I'm explaining to Aave will be applicable to many coins, as I said, because there are not many flavors. There are only 3-4 flavors you will find, and whatever I'm explaining here, there's immense technical analysis aspect involved, learning point of view for you, if you are able to grasp this, which is, I don't think it's a big deal. But these are easy methods that I use, and this is very important from a trend analysis point of view. Many people are very much focused into, first of all, they don't even track at a weekly, not often. And even if they track, they get excited about bounce and all. Uh, but the way you, one TA would think, I'm just sharing my thoughts here, that how you will analyze the structure of the wave, because the money is made only when you ride the wave. That's the real, I mean, of course, if you are very skillful and you are good at scalping and all, if you are timing, if you are able to time it and all, nothing wrong, I mean, amazing. But those who are not so experienced, for them it is very important you check the health of a coin based on what I'm saying, so you can do it also. And the spectrum is coming, so the spectrum is going to be very helpful in some cases, um, in fact in many cases, because now I see many use cases. So we'll cover that part later. So let me explain this one. So you see whole entire thing and say this is still downtrend. And if you look at only this part, you can say it's recovering. So it depends on the perspective. Okay, so we'll take few more example in detail so you will understand much um, in detail. So this is also similar. The structure is a little different. You see, this is uptrend, and it in this case, Aave made almost the same level as, so the Feb is here. So Aave was here, okay, and then ADA went up even further. So in case of Aave, if you want to consider ADA with Aave, so this is the same thing that from where it reacts. Aave made new Aave in the May came the same level and made new low. This didn't make new low. Okay, it made new high. Then it retraces. Aave retraced even more. Let me show you. Maybe I'll do the screen comparison for your benefit. I'll share my screen for you to explain the construct of a wave. So on the left hand side we have Cardano, ADA, and on the right hand side we have Aave. Okay, now look at the trend here. This doesn't have a lot of data here, but that's all right. We can at least start from here, November, December, because that's where it started moving up in many cases. Okay, so this is the high, Feb high. This is Feb high, and then reacted. This made new high, and this made slightly new but almost the same level. Then everything retraced in month of May, June, but this made new low. This did not make new low. This was still higher. So it shows you the strength of a coin. So when you select a coin, you must analyze this if you go by my method, of course. But I'm sharing so many things. This is one of the techniques where you can say what coin I should be focusing, because people focus on specific week, specific day, and sometimes some people focus on an intraday. And I'll say whole entire thing. You focus on whole entire thing. What is the health? What is the relative strength of a coin compared to other? So I think this demonstration or example will help you understand how you will pick the coin. Okay, at least you will you will be able to filter in a better way. I think rather than saying you will be able to pick up, you will be able to compare in a better way. So here new high, not a significant high. New low, not new low, higher low. This is lower low, and then everything went up. So in month of August, it made new high. So this is higher high, higher high. So high, higher high, higher high. Maintaining the low, it didn't come down. Here, high, almost the same, lower high, fast forwarding. Then what happened? ADA beaten up badly and it came down all the way here. And it touched the July low, which is same as July low. But the difference is it made a good progress. But here it this was pretty weak. So you see what happened here. If you look at this segment, ADA was stronger than Aave. In this segment, from August to till this date, in last 5 to 6 months, ADA was weaker than Aave. Okay, it's not that Aave was strong. It's comparatively we are analyzing. So you see this segment. Why? Because it didn't go down, and now it is recovering faster. Where ADA is still making, this is high, this is lower high, and this is lower high, where this is coming very close to it and moving away from the low, where this is still near the low. So this is how you compare different coins. If you are confused, but focus on a weekly chart, because only weekly chart, or maybe you can go on a monthly if there is enough data. You go on a monthly and a weekly. First thing that you do is this: every week you do this. No, you don't have to do every day, of course. I'm doing it, but I'm sharing some. This is TA. Basically, this is TA. One of the TA, approaches. I hope you'll find this very interesting. These are the topics I don't plan, and I end up talking about. Um, so that's the thing. If there's some people are not watching this video weekly update, they miss all this. So, but it also depends how much they are interested. But this is very handy technique. Okay, so let's continue now. So ADA, if you look at, so I think this is good enough. I'll continue with our regular update. It's here, no new low, but still going down, right? And it is still far from required level. Now we can go a little faster. Algo is here. It was rejected by this. This is like moving sideways. There's nothing much. If you look at this, like 4 or 5 weeks, there's nothing. It's holding up. The S1 is holding up, so that's good. Alice is also sideline, moving sideways. So one thing about consolidation is the way it's not positive or negative. This is another TS stuff. It's a phase where it gathers energy, and then you have to, and it depends on what direction it breaks out. It provides that energy in that direction. So if it breaks out on the upside, then that it provides another leg on the upside, and if it breaks down, then the same thing. So when you see this kind of a sideways movement, it's neither positive nor negative. It's energy gathering phase where it is just getting ready for the next move, and then we analyze whether it's likely to be breaking out on the upside or downside, and that's how it is. So when you see on a weekly like this, that means it's telling nothing. It's just consolidating. You can say sideways movement or consolidating. You don't judge anything here, and you from a trend point of view, from a investment point of view, also not financial advice, but there's no opportunity here. It's just flat. Okay, this is high, low, high, low, high, low. It's just go. You can imagine a wave where the wave is contracting. So you can say, if you draw a simple line like this, but sometimes the line changes if it goes down. So this is very tricky business. If you make new low here, then you have to change the angle. So that's why I don't draw too many lines like this. If you look at this one, you see it. If I zoom in, so it penetrated this one. So these lines, any line that is at angle, are not so accurate. Remember, they change. That's why some of the patterns are not so predictable as expected. That's why this any trend line at a short term, especially 3 month, 4 month, they are not so significant. I'll show you another trend line which is a longer term, which matters. Anyways, so Alice, as you could see, there's no opportunity here and no risk. It's basically doing nothing. 4.59, it looks good on a daily, but from a big picture point of view, when we look at the weekly trend analysis like this, it's nothing. Okay, we need it to be here, and then 5% over here has a different meaning than a 5% here. This is also important point from a TA point of view. Okay, 5% look at the 5% and people get happy about it. Okay, fine. There is nothing. I mean, it's a welcome move. But the point is, I would be happy if it happens over here. I- Over here, it has no significance unless you can time it and gain it. So from a trend point of view, 5% it's not going to move anything. Yeah, if it continue doing this for many days and reaches this in a level, and then 5% from here is like actually 30-40% move from here, proportion point of view. So 30% roughly. Uh, so 5% move over here is equal to 30% move, because here 5% is just a part of the big game. I mean, consolidation. Today it's 5%, tomorrow it will be minus 5% or 10%, tomorrow next day, come day after tomorrow it will be, so it gives you nothing. That's the bottom line. So when you see this kind of a move, okay, you watch it, but there's nothing to be excited about. Okay, if it is away from required level, I'm talking about those who are committing for longer term, those who are thinking for longer term. Okay, those who are short term, and then it's all right, but then you have to time it. It's very difficult to time it otherwise. Look at atom. Okay, so atom is above required level, so see the difference. So if it is above required level, for it filters out among others that okay, it achieved its required level. So that's number one category, right, out of many. No brainer. And then we'll have to, then there could be more than one above required level, and then you can always say, okay, now which one makes sense, and so on. Minus 2%, 2.5%. This is negative number from a today's performance point of view, but from a structure point of view, this is stronger than Alice. So those who just look at the number would not understand that they need to see the big picture here, that the atom is stronger than Alice, because they would focus more on minus 2 or some red daily gain, or right, or loss. Then they will not understand what is happening. So here, if I had to choose Atom and Alice, I would choose Atom even if it is minus, down by minus 2, simply because it is above required level. So if I had to choose, of course, okay, the next one is AVAX. It's good. I mean, but it's flat, and it's not so far from required level, which is good news. But it's flat, doing nothing. It be much better than many which are far away from the required level. So the number one thing you can do is how far they are from the required level. That could give you the measure. XS, you could see how it's still going down. It's still going down and moving away from the required level. The red line was given. It broke the red line and it's trying to break above. So you can imagine how would you rank this coin compared to other. Don't look at the history. Look at the current counter trend. Block, same story. You see, it's going down. So right now there's nothing. BNB, BNB is different. Why? Because it is about to break the prior resistance 490. It actually broke intra-week, right? And and it's moving away from S1. So this is interesting to me. It's not that it's making new low and somewhere here below S1. It is trying to go up, and you can imagine if it reaches here, then this coin becomes, on one of the top ones, and once the required level is achieved. But even if it breaks above this level, in my point of view, 614, that's good enough. Let's look at BTC. I'm treating BTC as regular coin today. Now, without drawings, if you look at this, it's still going down. it's still going down. However, it is at a support. You could see here. I think we are going to use the Bitstamp chart for our weekly. That's why we want to see the big picture here. Look at this one. Okay, you know this chart very well, right? Upper bound, lower bound. We talked about this structure last time. Now we are talking about this structure where you saw move, upside move, then a retrace correction, and then another high, then a correction, created kind of head and shoulder kind of a pattern. Where this is a left hand side, this is a center part. It's not exactly the same, but I think it is very close to that one. And this structure provides this as a support. That's why we had this checkpoint. There were two major attacks last week and this week, and it survived. You can see that this low actually retested this low, September 28th week low. I may cover that particular part here just to be accurate. Right? So you can see oops, just take a look. No. So this low actually was a retest of this low. Now this is a perfect symmetry if you look at the left hand side head and the right hand side. We had this projection with a yellow dotted line, and it went down in that same fashion. We had this red line indicating that very important line. Now it broke, it stopped here actually. Last week it stopped here, but not able to hold it and then make new low and retested this one. So this is so fantastic. Look at this one. This candle's low actually retest this low, and this particular week's low retested this particular week's low, right? So you can say that this orange box got the symmetry. This is done. Now what you are seeing here is very decisive moment. You can see that the first attempt was rejected by the red line. I think this is the most important chart in my opinion. We should not see the Binance version here. This is the most important version from a weekly trend point of view. And I would skip the Binance one, which I'm sharing on the BTC daily. I think that's fine for BTC daily. For the weekly, we must track this only. Yeah, because anyway, you're seeing that BTC daily every day, but we should talk only this one on a weekly time frame, because this is explained. This is where trend level stuff is happening, right? This is like trend level decisions to be made based on this layout. Right, so this has to be understood very well. Now what is happening here in this week, it actually hit two significant levels. First, it tried to break above and fail, and second, it tried to break below the support and it failed. You see, so this was a negative move, this is a positive move. Now it is here. We cannot say it is good or bad. We can say it is surviving. So this is like when I yesterday I used the term rescued. That's a reason why I said, because this was the ultimate level. Of course, there are always some supports, but from a structure point of view, I didn't want this level to be broken, to be honest, because if this would have broken, there are so many supports below this. But then, back of my mind, I would say, you know what, this is now tough and probably slipping away from the control is slipping away. That kind of you know mindset I would have. So this is like a rescue. Bouncing from this low is like a rescue, and so this is current level is where we can say, okay, um, still in ICU, still on oxygen. Okay. If it breaks above and re-enters this level, above this, then we'll move the patient to regular ward. Okay, but this is still in ICU. As long as it's below this red line. And today's Saturday, so let's see. There are 3 days off. So how Bitcoin does, what Bitcoin does in absence of broader stock market, especially the US stock market, is very interesting because Monday is a holiday here. If it can make a big move, then it will be amazing. But if it doesn't make move, then it means it will wait for Tuesday. That can be the interpretation, because we have seen how both of them are tightly coupled. Both Bitcoin and Nasdaq are tightly coupled so far, right? Sometimes they are not exactly moving, but in a broader sense, they are tightly coupled. Especially when Nasdaq moves, make a bigger move. A little move, it doesn't follow each and every move, but it does follow when there is a major move from Nasdaq. It's very kind of a similar relationship between Bitcoin and alts. The Bitcoin, when the Bitcoin goes down by 3% or so, then the alts would move a lot. But a little bit of movement on the downside doesn't make a major difference to alts. I think the similar relationship I see between Bitcoin and Nasdaq. Only difference is that relationship is not established relationship like Bitcoin and alts. Relationship between Bitcoin and Nasdaq varies. The degree of association is different. So every other day you have to assess and reestablish their relationship, how much they are correlated. So unlike Bitcoin and alts. Right. So definitely Bitcoin is not moving independently in last many days. Right? It's evident. So let's see if in these 3 days when the US market is off, what happens. Okay, so this is still in ICU, as I said. This is where we want to see, and about this we'll say, okay, now it is discharged. So until and unless it is in a broader sense, it is under this orange box, we can say it is still admitted. And of course, if it starts going down in this area, then it's like on a probably in a ventilator kind of a situation, right? Right now, so this is like a last kind of a, like all the life saving gadgets you could imagine, because this level is very vulnerable level in my opinion. If it goes into, I mean, if it breaks this level, then I don't know, I mean, it's very slim probability that it could survive. Very slim probability. There's always a probability. Only thing is the probability varies in terms of number or weightage, right? So we can say this is like still the downside. This is 50-50 because this is middle, and this is still 50-50, and this is like 70-80. And here if it breaks down, then very high probability that it goes below. Then you can say this is the beginning of the bear trend for Bitcoin. In that case, right now this is consolidation, but this is like a mini bear market actually, because this again, I said this was the high, this is the high, but there's no new high in a true sense. So the whole entire thing is a consolidation, and it's boring, utterly boring. And there's no trend. Making money is so easy when there is trend like this. You see, this is straight trend with some consolidation, but this is a giant consolidation. And I briefly mentioned last time, I think I explained this last time, that this consolidation is so positive. If it could get our required level so positive that this whole entire thing was consolidation in my view. This is high, this is low, this is lower high, this is high, higher low, and it was like kind of swinging, and then a breakout. Similarly, you see the uptrend, high, low, the same, and the higher low, and if it can continue going up like this, and then so it could then go much higher level like this, more than and higher than 100k. 100k is not the right number, it's a lower number. I don't know why people keep talking about 100k. 100k is a small number if it continues going down or going up, sorry. It 100k is not even a technical resistance, to be honest. It's just a number people like with zeros. Okay, so and if as I said, if it comes down to this and put pressure on this one, then this is end of this trend. Okay, in that case we might see retest of this high, which is around 19k 20k. So we get to be prepared for that, but at this moment we don't have to worry. But as I said, we got to be watchful. So far so good. So far so good. Okay, let's continue. uh, right, so this is very critical moment. As I said, this right now, this will decide whether it is going for this. I mean, next 1 week maybe we'll have clarity. In the next 2 3 days we may not get any major move. If we get, well and good, but we'll have to see. um, right, so I think this is clear to you. We would like price to be above the red line, as simple as that, and we don't want price to break below the this week's low. That's the requirement. So we'll have to track that. This is a big picture I'm talking about, and I'm trying to simplifying it. So you can say 45k plus would be good. 45k plus would be good. So you stick to the daily update that I provide, but on a weekly you can say 45 plus. If we get, then there is a relief. Then from ICU, it will be out of ICU. Right now this is an oxygen and ICU. This will be on ventilator, okay, at this level, and from here it will be discharged. So this is the simple way to put it. So the Bitcoin is definitely right now hospitalized, okay, and it has to be tracked that way. And above red is regular ward, out of emergency room, ICU. Anyways, so that's how I'll put it, and a very simple way to explain this. Because the different level will change the status, and so that's how it is. Okay, let's resume. And today we are doing different. We are going with alphabetical order, not Bitcoin as the first coin. CELR is bouncing very well, looking really good. This is a resistance. At this moment it's at resistance. If it breaks above, then it goes for this one. Stay with me. We're going to look at the spectrum as well, because spectrum is showing very interesting stuff in recent day. I mean, probably so when you launch something, you don't know how it will behave, because what you have done is you would have tested with the test data. Like, if think about vaccine, or think about a space project. When you launch a space rocket, not necessarily in a first launch it works. Sometimes you need one or two trial, right? Same thing with some medication also. If there is there are trials, but sometimes you cannot cover all the cases. In the test, you will have data, but not necessarily all sort of data, especially variety, which future brings. So the testing is always with a limited data and with a historical data, and present could be, I mean, future could bring some different flavors. So that's why it is always very interesting to see. So that's why we are approaching different way. We are from test, we are we are into beta phase, and then we'll go live. With the beta, we are testing with the live, so you will observe. Maybe you can use it, but use it in a way before you commit. You first get confidence on it, and then that's the whole purpose of beta testing. That's a user testing, and that's what we're doing. So I think this is the approach we'll take for anything that comes out new. There's always element of surprises or uncertainty. So, we're going to see how Spectrum does. I mean, Spectrum is doing. So CELR is doing really well. The bounce is really good, right? Encouraging. Crow is still not so good. I would say it has to do something, I mean, much better than this. It's still below, it's near the support line, so it has to do better. We need a big move from Crow. So there is nothing major. Doge, significant achievement this week, especially from Elon's tweet and what Tesla is doing, the great support for this coin. So, some people ask me offline, sometimes my friends, I said Doge is good as long as Elon is backing up, because you need someone who is strong backing up the project. To me, people think, I remember I used to say Doge. I said you it started with joke, but people are still in that thing. They're outdated. People who are not updated will talk about it. And I used to say that Doge is merge mining with Litecoin. People don't know. Many people don't know what is merge mining, and people don't know that the security of Dogecoin is equivalent to Litecoin, because they use the same mining facility and mining machines, ASICs. So people are so outdated, and they're still in that thing. Oh, it's a meme coin. It's a joke. They are not understanding things simply because they're not up to date. And people also, because Elon is doing, people say, oh, it was a joke, then it was a meme coin from Elon, and that's why it's rising. But people are not understanding that security wise, it is more secure than 99% or 99.9% of the alts. I'm saying this on record, simply because it's being merged mined with Litecoin, and the security and hash rate of Litecoin is pretty high. So they don't know the technical details. They're outdated. We talk that it's all about dog and Doge. Yeah, there are so many dogs, so you got to be careful which dog you take. Okay, there's so many dogs. Yesterday, I saw on Coin Market Cap the coin called Elon's Child, Elon's Baby, something like that. Elon's Baby. We know Elon coin. We there's Elon's Baby. So there's so many coins. There are so many dog related coins. People are taking advantage, and they're fraud. Anyway, so Doge is different security wise. So don't think it's a joke. Okay. And if you're thinking, then I would strongly suggest you read about it. Then you'll understand. And on top of it, Elon is backing up, and people were not taking seriously. But I was saying this, that it is possible that SpaceX also could start supporting Doge, and you never know that Elon may say that anything happens in Mars will happen transact in Doge. I'm not kidding. It's my speculation, of course, but it is very well possible that people are talking that Bitcoin is, let's say, reserve currency of Earth. Then I was saying, if that is true, then the Doge could become a reserve currency for Mars. You never know, because Elon is taking the first human to the Mars. So who knows? So he may say everything that SpaceX does would be transacted in Doge. You never know. It's my speculation. But if and I used to say this is not new. I'm saying there's many months. If you look at the Discord, you can search up. I said this many times about the Doge and all. So now Doge is taking, I'm considering for Tesla, right, accessories and all. So that's a step in that direction, so to speak. And Doge tech could improve. Those who are in software background knows that software can be improved. You need money, design can be improved, implementation can be improved, infrastructure can be improved, everything can be improved. So you cannot have the old mindset. Same thing, anything that was good not necessarily that remains good. Those who are coders knows that first version is sometimes all good, but then if the team doesn't update it well, then the same good code becomes bad ugly code. How bad it how And then it's sometimes very nightmare to maintain that code. So those who are coder understand what I'm saying. Even you're not, so other, maybe you can ask around, but that's what happens. Even the good code, so if Satoshi wrote a fantastic code, but there are not, if the direction of that upgrades is not in the right direction, you never know. So it's very different thing in software. So sometimes if there are the right people involved, good amount of money is involved, then the code can be improved, code can be changed, and you cannot just stick to the history. So the message, my message is always try to be relevant, and don't look at the past, what happened 5 years ago, 6 years ago, because things change a lot in that time. So that's the thing. Anyways, so those is improving. Dot is also getting better. It's still maintaining this low, but it has to cover this. At least it has to be above S1. This is not good enough. It has to be above S1. Okay. Now EGLD is still, it has to be above S1. This is not good enough, right? It's far from required level. Still, from a big picture point of view, it's really good. But if you think from this segment point of view, it's still dragging down. It has to do much better. ETH had a very bad week. Last week was really bad. It accelerated, and this was captured in our last meeting, that it is not looking, especially this red line. You see, this red line has the meaning, and because after this one, it actually accelerated. Below this, it accelerated on the downside. This week is much better. It has penetrated the S1, but from a big picture point of view, the trend line is still broken, right? And it has to do a lot better than this one. Still, I'm not happy. I don't see the energy in Ethereum, not yet. Definitely, this week is much better, but we need Ethereum to be at least 4,000 plus. I mean, the required level is 4,500. At least 4K is required. This is nowhere near to the level we can say, oh, okay, now it's at a decent level. No, yeah, from a big picture point of view, there is nothing to worry. So if you consider a whole entire wave, there is nothing to worry. Absolutely no worries, because this low has not even broken below September low. So there is nothing to worry. But sometimes things start small and then they aggravate. So that's why we have to keep an eye. So here, this is still fine. But if this is broken, then it's not fine. Then it's losing control. That means if it breaks below S2, that's not a good news. Then there's significant risk on the downside. Then 1250 is not out of equation. Then it's very much possible. If this S2 is taken down, I have no doubt about it. This level is okay, not bad, 1700, but then I won't trust this level, if you ask me. To me, first of all, it has to survive this. If not, this S2 is the last everything. If this is broken, then this will really make it weaker, significantly weak actually. So if from a big picture point of view, this yellow was the trend, and that trend was broken here, and here it accelerated. So this is not a good sign. However, this can compensate. It depends on how high it goes. If it sticks to this one and it doesn't progress next week and remains here, then this consolidation is actually for the next leg down, if you think from that point of view. So this has to go higher and break above the red at least, and ideally 4K, as I said. But if it sticks to this level and moves sideways like this, then it is for downside move. It is not for upside move in that case, because that's a negative way, because the consolidation on the support is not good. So that's how, that's ETH. I was talking about Aave file. So file is similar story. This is still this is mini bear market. This is mini bear. So it had broken this yellow trend long back in month of November, still going down. And if you look at it, this, it has retested this high actually. Now this is the recent low, has retested the December 20, sorry, January, yeah, December, January, sorry, December 2017, January 2018 high. That's this low. So that's a red line. Okay. And also, if you look at, if I draw this white line, this gives me the confluence point, intersection. So this is critical, and of course this S2 is there. But the point is, this is going down at this moment. Trend was broken. This is another significant level, and this is the last level. So there's no opportunity with Filecoin. If you look at, there's no opportunity. It's still going down. Very weak coin. Flux. So Flux is still on near top. So the consolidation is still near top. So it is still a strong coin from that regard, because it's unlike other coin, which is not, which is unlike the other coins are somewhere here. This is sitting on all-time high. So of course this is one of the strongest one. FTM is one of the stars. We know that. It is well above required level. It is struggling here because this is heavy resistance zone. R6, R7, heavy resistance zone. So we cannot expect that it rises and just break above like I mean, it just cannot ignore. It has to work hard for it to break above. Okay, on a higher time frame. Spectrum will show you further detail. Very interesting. So I'm liking it. GRT, it tried to break above S1 but failed. So it has to work hard. There's no opportunity on GRT. Ancient is much better. Like you see the bounce from S1. This is much better. If it could come close to R6, you see how significant R6 is. R6 rejected. I mean, required level has rejected all these bounces. Now, fantastic bounce, no doubt about it. But the thing is, if we have a rule that unless the required level is achieved, longer term trend is still not there, then it's so easy. Okay, it doesn't mean one has to be sidelined. It's about the commitment. So anything below required level to be considered as a short term. Anything above required level can be considered as longer term. That's the easy way to put. In the same time, if any coin that has achieved the required level but then closes below the required level, then it changes the grade. Okay, the A plus grade goes away. ICP is good. So ICP is silent. It was rejected by R1 multiple times. So this is so accurate. Perfect resistance. So this is technical move. So we called out at a very bottom level when it was like in 24 maybe, and then it had a good run, and it reacted from R1 at R1, which is predictable. And now this is not bad. This is still consolidation below R1, so this is not bad at all from a big picture point of view. From a overall point of view, this is still a downtrend if you look at it. So this is a good move. but this is still going down. This is still a lower high, right? It has to be somewhere here. So it's doing well, but not good enough from a macro standpoint of view. It has to go higher. Otherwise, this can be another bounce like this bounce and then make another low. Yeah, I'm not kidding. That's why incremental approach and the statement that I made is very true. And sometimes you have to experience that in crypto, if you go slow, you grow fast, which looks contradicting. I mean, which seems contradicting, but I will I'll let you experience that. Be in crypto for 1 year or 2 year, then you will understand what I'm saying. If you are new, if those who are experienced, of course they would know what I'm saying. Slow means what? What is the definition of slow? Nobody asked me, but I'm just clarifying. Slow means what? If you have $1,000 to start with, you don't start with $1,000. Simple. You start a car from your garage. You start slow, then street, and then your highway. You ramp up. You accelerate. That's how it is. You have $1,000. You don't spend $1,000. You start with small and then increase. That's called incremental approach, and that's about going slow. So not spending whole entire money in first trade is going slow. That's the definition. Okay. KC is one of the strongest one, as you could see, but last week was really bad one. Now it is struggling to break above S1. You see, this is really struggling here. So we'll have to see. Because that's what happened with ADA earlier. ADA was strong earlier in the middle of the year, but then it started going down quicker. So we don't know different coins, triggers, like ADA was stronger earlier during mid-June, Feb to mid-June, and then lost a lot. KCS, this was major move, but this is a retest of this, so that's fine. But this red line is critical, otherwise goes to S2. KDA, similar story. This is a retest of this low. So, but it's going down at this moment. They are going down. Week over week, they're going down. They're going down. KCM, they are going down. In between, you feel that they are going up, but they're not. From this point of view, right? If you think from whole entire thing, it's still a consolidation for last 1 year. This is similar to Bitcoin. KSM, my bad. KSM structure is very much similar to Bitcoin. So Link had a decisive moment here. It went up. This is an indication of a potential top. I'm not saying top means what. It doesn't top. People think top means crash. So I'm just clarifying. When somebody says, especially when I say, if somebody, you have to ask somebody, but when I say top means it has to work hard for it to make new high, and it could correct before it goes higher. And consolidate or correction means, when I say top, means it's the new high is delayed. How much delay we have to track later, but that means you have to wait for new high. So when I say Link is showing a sign of top, means this could take few days for it to make new high, or few weeks, who knows, or maybe it goes deeper. That means if I'm saying this, that means you got to wait for this to happen. In other words, you don't. So the question is, when it will go is not a question, but then it's like when it reaches 29 is the question. right? So you track 29. In other words, unless you see 29 is broken above, consider that this could go down or consolidate for longer time, because this is a sign of potential top to me, local top, not a ultimate. This is, and it could retest this level. It is very well possible, but too early to say. At least I could say that you got to wait for 29 to have. So this is for link. LTC is in good mood. There's a it, it has touched the trend line. So this was a penetration and now recovery. And there was some good news also. The member release that they're making it. So I think there's new energy in the team or community. So they're accumulating. There was news. So there's this good positive effect we can see. So if we want Litecoin to break about this trend line which was broken last week and then move, especially it has to break about S1, then we can expect it to go further up. This is still not enough, though positive, but not enough, because this is still on edge. So this is a pullback. It breaks down and pulls back. This is normal behavior. You'll see that this is like, if you flip it, let me show you. If you flip this one invert scale, this is like a breakout. You see breakout, upside breakout, and this is a retest. We call this, right? This is your trend line. Your trend line. This is a breakout on the upside. This is a retest. Similarly, so I flipped the chart, right? Inverted. Similarly, when there's a breakdown, sometimes you see this kind of pullback. This is very commonly observed. Now, so that's why the pullback you have to observe, and the pullback, if it is strong enough, it revives. I mean, it recovers. Otherwise, it's rejected. And that's what happened with Ethereum, actually. If you noticed, maybe quickly I'll show you. In Ethereum, it broke this one, and you see this is a pullback. It almost touched this yellow line. So when it broke, it went up and touched this yellow line. You see now? This Litecoin is doing something like this. But then it could not continue and break above the yellow and then follow this, moved away. So you can relate that. Litecoin is definitely trying to break above. Can it reach this level? Is something we have to wait and see. Otherwise, it can be simple, very regular. This is very, very commonly observed, not always, but commonly observed pattern. Today, I share a lot of TA stuff. Luna is charging up much better. It's not just much better, but actually it broke above the required level. But it's intra-week penetration. So can it close above required level? If it does, then perfect. So getting stronger. MANA is not bad, but it has to do a lot. Still, it's going down. Matic is much better. It's above S1, near the required level. Still in this wedge, so safe. So far, so good. But got to be here, somewhere here, about 2.6. Then we can expect higher level. This is not good enough. The one has hit R14 again, all-time high, retraced, very irregular normal behavior. It retested. So this is a good thing to see. That this is breakout, then reaction near the resist all-time high, retested the required level, went up, hit this R14, retest again. So this is very positive behavior. It's down by 4.5% today, but still it's making higher. So the trend is up. If you look at this recovery trend, this is a counter trend. This is recovery. This is very positive. It's going up. When it is when we have to worry when it breaks below the required level, then there's a point of concern, because it doesn't make sense then. Twice it was like rescued or supported. It cannot go down again. If it goes down, that's bad. As simple as that. That's not good. So far so good. One is down by 4.5%, but that's an opportunity in my opinion. As long as, but you have to keep Bitcoin in mind. Bitcoin is still in ICO. Opal tried to break above but rejected by S2. So no coin goes down forever. There is always chances. I mean bounces. This is like regular bounce. This does nothing to me. This is none. What we call no action. RNDR is struggling hard, really struggling hard, and getting weaker actually. So I'm changing my opinion on RNDR now. RNDR shown very strong moves earlier, and then really good bounces in between. But now I'm seeing RNDR as one of like a kind of a weaker coin. Okay, and I'm a little skeptical about um, its recovery. This is looking weak actually, not looking good at all. We'll see. It could recover. It's not broken this level, but the pressure is more on this downside. So I think RNDR is still one of the weakest one at this moment to me, and it could go down. Sand not bad, trying hard to break up S1. You see, it's rejected by S1. So this level is important. S5, which means S5. To that now. This is a critical support. SKL is still going down, trying to break above, but it rejected by the red line that we had. This is a regular behavior. This was a support was broken. It tried to, this is a pullback. What you saw in the trend line, what I explained for the trend line LTC, the same behavior here. The only thing is this is horizontal support. So this is Sol. I removed the drawing. Actually, let me pause. Back. Right, so I changed the recording, sorry, the layout a bit. Now, you see what happened here. This was a consolidation phase. This is second consolidation phase. This is uptrend, consolidation, uptrend, consolidation. So if this price can push and break above the required level, it will create another leg on the upside, big one. Okay, it could, yeah, we can expect a big one. In that case, 400 plus, 500 plus maybe, or it could be 800, something like that. Huge one, very well possible. But this is the requirement. So people sometimes try to be hurried. People try to become very much impatient, and I said there's enough time. You're not missing the bus. You'll see the big picture. $5 here or there, 20. I mean, don't. I mean, big commitment has to be on key level. That's my message. If you're playing around here and there, that's fine. Knowing that everything is short term, that's all right. But big picture, keep big picture in mind and a big goals in mind, because that's where you will save the money and that's why you will earn the money, in my opinion. Right? When you track big thing, big picture, that's where the benefit is. So when we talk about 800 level, for an example, it will be higher than 800, but 800, let's say at least 800, 700, 800. Then whether you enter here or here doesn't make any difference. But from a risk management point of view, there's a huge difference, right? Huge difference, because here it's like autopilot, in my opinion. It autopilot. Let me tell you something like this. But if this is like it's like full of turbulences. It's not easy. And this is so different traders think differently. And my focus is trend. My focus is swing trading. Of course, I highlight few things in between layers, but I try to make the trading easier because my experience is that intraday traders do not make money unless very skillful, but usually they lose more than they earn. Okay, so that's why my approach is more on a swing trading in a longer term, view. That's easier. But sometimes some people join the opportunities channel and they don't take advantage of this method. They, it's not criticism, but I feel that if even if they create a separate account for this one and try out, they will be able to see the difference. They come for targets and they go away. Okay, they don't learn new technique, new method, and stick for a few months. I'm not saying because of business, but even for it's win-win, right? It's business and gain both. It's win-win. So when I put a lot of effort, the whole idea is to teach new method, and if that new method I know it works, and if it works, then why not? So that's my argument. Many people come and leave in a month or so because they continue with the old style, and sometimes I surprise why they lose. If there are good guidelines and a method is in front of them, and they lose simply because there are basic fundamental things they miss. They don't see the big picture. They aggressively buy everything in all. They do in and out a lot, and so many other things they are not supposed to do, they end up doing it. So if you play for longer run, see the big picture, then there is more win than losses, in my opinion, probabilistically, in my own experience point of view. Anyways, so Salona, this is like no trade zone, decisive zone, no trade zone. We cannot say what might happen in this case. So to me, required level is so important here. This is still on a lower side, so the downside risk is still higher. And if this level is broken below, S2 is broken below, not just this, it could really go down up to this 22, but it could retest this, very well possible, the high of this one, which so in that case it could be somewhere here, 60s, 50, 60. It is very much possible if S2 is broken down. Right? So that's why you got to be careful and watchful. Uni is has retested this level, right? But this whole entire base is so critical for uni. If this is broken down, that's a bad thing, and if it continues, that's a very good thing. The consolidation is so positive. If it breaks above this level, 30 $30, then it's so positive. Otherwise, come, yeah. Otherwise, right now this is like still near the support, so still under pressure. The downside pressure is still high. Okay, VET is still okay, nothing much. Still, it's dragging down, nothing much. Good. So still, it has to break above at least S1. So this is the fall. Can't be traded. Actually, no opportunity and no risk. Sometimes there's nothing, like no opportunity, no risk. VRA started making good move this week. So what this could be, stuff. If beginning of the recovery, we'll see how far it goes. Right? So far so good. So good recovery attempt here this week. So if it breaks up S1, then it becomes really good one. This is a strong coin. Okay, so this covers everything, all the active coins. I'll end this session here as far as recording is concerned. I think, yeah.